That's a good point.
In this season of the business, this is what you must do.
Yep.
So that you can build the culture internally to then scale on top of.
Yep.
And you have to do it so that you know how it's done, you know how it feels, you know what the second and third order effects of that are.
Welcome to the Value Factory Podcast, brought to you by OneAccord. We're all about helping businesses thrive and grow through leadership, strategy, and meaningful impact. Now, whether you're a seasoned executive or just starting out, our goal is to provide insights and inspiration to help you navigate your journey. Thanks for tuning in.
Well, Brett, welcome into the Value Factory.
Yeah.
So good to see you.
This spot is awesome.
Here in person. So we do this monthly, but online.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
In person is way better. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I mean, the studio is gorgeous.
Cool.
It is.
Cool. You asked me just a minute ago, like, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, I don't know, just, a couple of guys, a couple of friends hanging out, but really intentionally, like, we're going into year end.
Yep.
And you guys at Legacy Builder are having a banner year. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yep.
I want to ask questions like, to what do you attribute your success? Like, why do you think you're growing at the pace that you're growing? Clifton has been publishing content about success in ads.
Yep.
So curious.
Yeah.
About ads. My experience working with you guys is awesome. And, you have in your core values, what is the word in front of hospitality?
Oh, unreasonable hospitality.
Unreasonable hospitality. Yeah. Like I can say, can confirm
over good.
Here. These are some things to talk about. These are some things that I think can be a value add to the people who might be listening.
Yeah.
So let's take it from the top.
Man, the growth this year has been fantastic, to your point. I can attribute it to a few things. It's really hard. And when Clifton and I talk about it, it's very hard to pinpoint one thing with real confidence because we know that things work synergistically. And so, like you mentioned, ads, we've had a lot of success. We're working with Alex Hartsuff, who's been fantastic, helping us build out our ads, test the creatives, test out our messaging, and really figure out how to do it well without sacrificing the brand and really the momentum. Because that's a real challenge point. We've had the real privilege of having a lot of inbound and referral based clients, and there's so much buy-in and trust with that we really get to shepherd those clients well. But when you have cold traffic, it kind of changes the dynamic a little bit. So part of what we were trying to problem solve early on was, how do we maintain authenticity, trust, reliability, and really good, just sticking to our core values, like the unreasonable hospitality? How do we keep that with an audience that does not know who we are and is brand new and hasn't been educated, hasn't read, 15 of Clifton's tweets or my tweets or whatever? And that's been an interesting challenge, but I think we're getting close.
So when I think of marketing, advertising, I think of awareness, consideration, conversion, right? And I've thought of these not linear, like, right. I need to do 2 weeks of awareness and then followed by 2 weeks of consideration, but rather it's like a stack of pancakes. And I'm doing all of that content all of the time because people might meet me at some point along the way. In that framework, when you're doing targeted ads, are you doing paid ads? Are you doing paid ads in the awareness space, or is it consideration or conversion, or are you doing all through the stack?
That's a great question. I would say the majority of the ads are more in the problem aware phase, meaning they're people who understand that we're not arguing that being on socials is valuable. It's something that's implicitly understood, right?
And so, perfect. So people who are meeting you and the brand at that phase, they're problem aware.
Yep.
And so your content speaking to that problem they want to take action on, but they don't know you. So that awareness of you and the brand.
Yep.
And so then on the fulfillment side, so they're like, yep, I want what you're selling. I need to fix this problem. You guys solved the problem, but I don't know you. I don't know how
Right.
you operate. I don't know your vibe.
Exactly.
And the customers probably don't come to you and say like, yeah, but I don't know you.
Right.
They're like, solve my problem.
That's right.
You're like, okay, but do they know us?
Yep.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of trust building that has to happen. There's education and familiarity and trust building. Those are big pieces. And our onboarding process, the reason that it's like a choreographed dance, meaning I made a goal of having the most buttery smooth, seamless onboarding process for people because, and what I say to the fulfillment team is every client interaction is a sales call. Every client interaction, we're proving again, why did you choose us? How can we help you? How can we get you to your end goals, right? How can we help you move towards that ideal future? And so the onboarding process for me is really, it's fundamentally about trust and being sensitive to client needs, but also understanding how to draw appropriate boundaries where, hey, you know, that's not really our wheelhouse, or we can pull in a third party. We can talk to a referral partner if there's stuff that they want to do that's not right in our bread and butter, right? But also it's partially an aspect of repetition. I heard one of my team members get on a call the other day and he had a question pitched at him and he took it like a pro and just went through dot, 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 dot all the way through. And he was just dialed, right? And I told him after the call, I said, you've grown. You've grown because there's an element of repetition that actually just makes it that you've flown through storms before. And you know what moves to make and what moves to avoid and how to speak in a way that doesn't, it's very easy to get jumpy. It's very easy to bend over backwards or also to be hyper rigid, right? And none of those build trust.
And I'm watching the content, particularly from Clifton, and it's like, another founder signed. And so you've got reps. Like, this is not new to you and the team. So important. And then what I'm hearing beneath that are systems.
Absolutely.
You said buttery smooth. I love the
oh yeah
analogy.
Yep,
That's good. Thinking about that, unreasonable hospitality. Is that what it is?
That's right.
What makes hospitality, like what makes it unreasonable? Where's that differentiator?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I would say, well, unreasonable hospitality comes from the book. I believe it's Will Goddard. But it's basically unreasonable hospitality comes from the restaurant industry, right? So it's the idea that a great example of unreasonable hospitality that I experienced when I was at a conference in Vancouver. I went to a restaurant. I basically just needed Wi-Fi. So I was going to order something light, and I was going to take a call from the restaurant. It was a nice setup. I get to the restaurant and I asked them, I wanted to order some sushi or, not poke. There we go. And I wanted to order some poke. And I asked the waitress and she's like, actually we're out. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just get, I ordered something else. And about 5 minutes later, the chef came out and he said, I'm so sorry we don't have any poke. If you like poke, I really think that you'll like this dish. And I brought you a sample for it. One sample, brought it out, sat next to me, delicious, ordered it, right?
Sale closed.
To me, that goes so far because it was this nuanced touch point that built trust, but also it just made me feel seen and it made me feel valued. I'm not table 5, right?
Yeah.
I'm a specific person with specific wants. And I left a Google review right after because I was like, fantastic service. They went above and beyond. That's what it is. And the hard thing is, he didn't come out with like 10 free dinners or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm thinking of this in my working relationship with you guys. Unreasonable hospitality doesn't mean unreasonable decision making, right. AKA unprofitable actions.
Yes.
So, we have in your process, which is like super simple for me to engage with. So as a customer, as a client, the process is very easy. It also allows me to, throw some wrinkles in the matrix. I don't know, kind of disrupt the system because I could be peppering your team with like, oh, here's shiny object. Oh, do this, right? Which I do maybe like once every month where I'm like, oh, I just, doom scrolled on X and I've got 5 different content ideas. I wonder if you guys have thought about this. I did that to Clifton the other night. He was so unreasonably hospitable. He's like, yeah, let's just try it right now. Real time. And I was like, well, cool. Other times I've, thrown a noodle against the wall and, the team is like, hey, thanks for the feedback, right? Really hospitable. But, they're not coming out with 10 free dinners.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not just responding to every shiny object idea I have. So you found balance in there.
Yeah. And what it is, fundamentally, I think it's always in context, how our agencies run, right? Because you're right. The term unreasonable, it's fundamentally just going above and beyond and caring for people and showing them that we're not just here as a collaboration. We're here because we actually want you to win. And we actually have the great privilege of working with clients that we really want to see succeed. So there's a heart behind it there that really matters, right? And so when it comes down to those touch points, I mean, I have stories, like so many stories where I've had, either a text or a late night Slack message that I happen to be awake and see and decide in that moment to jump in. And I've had lots of business mentors say, that's not scalable. People tell me that, the way that you're approaching that is going to be problematic. Here's why. But with Clifton and I, we've decided is that there's work that has to be done. And what separates you is when you're willing to do the work that other people are not willing to do. Right. And that's the work for us. There's lots of other work that we're expanding into, that we're expanding services, making sure that our strategies and approaches are sharp, that we're highly efficient. But it's those little moments that if you treat every interaction like like on a sales call, if somebody had a request and it's very similar to in a marriage or something. If you treat every day like you're on a date or you're just dating, it changes the frame. It's like, will you take out the trash? Tony Robbins always said this, take out the trash, right? He's like, of course I will, sweetheart, right? It's like that. So if we can give that to our clients, an experience where they really feel like they're not bugging us ever, right? That their needs are our needs, very closely tied, right? That when they win, we win. When that is working, it's how we've built this whole thing.
And you have to model it so that your team knows what to do.
1000%.
So with no context and great respect for the mentors who said, don't do that in some fashion or another, I'm thinking, well, you absolutely must at this stage of the game.
That's a good point.
In this season of the business, this is what you must do so that you can build the culture internally to then scale on top of. And you have to do it so that you know how it's done, you know how it feels, you know what the second and third order effects of that are. Otherwise, it's a really good idea that you try to transfer knowledge to someone else to implement without the experience of, the holistic experience. I think it's too soon for that.
That's right.
Right. Now, when you double from the size that you're at today, that advice becomes very relevant because you actually probably can't. But until you're there, maybe you probably should.
Right.
I spend so much time in content talking about reducing owner dependence. Like that's one of the things that we do. It's not a one size fits all. I can't say to the owner operator of a $1 million landscaping company, gosh, you should, your business shouldn't be so dependent on you.
Right.
Like there wouldn't be a business.
That's right.
That size. Now, a $30 million commercial landscaping business, the owner should not be out pushing a mower unless it's an example of unreasonable hospitality, right? Unless that becomes like the kind of the token move that, the highest value client, the technician was sick that day. So the owner got in their car and they went and they mowed the football field for the person. But that becomes like a part of the culture. It's the story and the artifact that gets told 10 and 15 and 30 years later. Right. So there's a place for that. So back to, you are in by some people's language and description, legacy builder is still in the growth stage,
For sure.
not yet scale.
Right.
And so at some point though, like you're getting close. You're crossing over a new plateau right now.
Yep.
A season of change. How's that feel?
No, I think your point there, it's something that we think about a lot. It's something Clifton and I have thought about a lot because, well, I have to give you your flowers because a lot of the things that you say for OneAccord that you're talking through with the leadership and the companies that you're working with. I was telling your teammate upstairs, I was like, I have Nick's voice in the back of my head when I'm making strategic decisions in the best way, meaning like focus on these few things. If you get these few foundational things right, then you're just going to allow yourself to grow without so much back and forth or friction, right?
Mhm.
And that's a big piece because one of my chief goals in my role is to maintain momentum, operational momentum, client rapport, right? Like success stories, highlighting people. Do you get what I mean?
I've never heard anyone frame it that way, and it made perfect sense right away.
Yeah.
Really good.
Momentum is hard to develop,
Yeah.
but you know it when you have it.
Yeah.
Every time. I mean, it's hard to quantify, but if you go into a business and there's momentum, it's instantly palpable.
Right.
And that's what I want to protect. And that's interesting to do with a remote team as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like a good example of this is we use Slack for a lot of stuff. So all the messages are public, right? They're all on these group channels. Well, we had it one time where we had a client and I was in Argentina at the time. So I was several hours ahead. They had a message that was like an urgent request for, I think it was a male voiceover for an ad or for a trailer for this specific thing. And so I saw the message. I knew everybody else was offline, but I saw this as an opportunity where I was like, I really would love to step in and help here. And so I'm messaging. I'm like, let me look around the grapevine, see if we know anybody who can do that. Maybe, some AI tool can do that. And then I gave the client a call and I was just like, do you want me to just record a male voiceover for you right now? And they were like, oh my gosh, please. And so I'm glass of wine, I'm like, okay, here we go. It's like, I think it was 11:45 at night, right? My time. And anyways, I recorded it and the team saw that. And so the modeling piece is really important because now can you respond to every Slack message at 11:45 p.m.? No, but using your judgment to know where's the client at, what have we done for them already, how can we go above and beyond and be the people that bring that one moment, that one win. And for that client, that was that moment. And so teaching people how to model that is, I think, where culture takes in. And it's really cool to see that start to develop as we've grown the team, right? So Clifton growing the sales team and then me growing the fulfillment team, there's a lot of opportunity there to meet with team members and really instill that into them where it's like, Brett, what would you do in this scenario? And oftentimes I'll put it back. What do you think I would do in that scenario? And it's like XYZ. And I'm like, bingo.
Yeah, I think 10 out of 10 times people know the answer. They want the validation.
That's it.
So what should I do? What should you do?
Yeah.
Well, here's what I think. Yeah, good. Right, but they want that validation.
Yep.
The momentum thing though, that's a golden nugget in this conversation.
Yeah.
And particularly from your vantage as COO, like you're managing the fulfillment team.
Yep.
Which may not always naturally be thought of as like a momentum driver, right?
Yep.
People would think sales, but
Mm-hmm.
you bring that kind of sales mentality into every delivery. So good.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. That's precisely what it is. And Nick Huber had a great piece on this where he basically his argument was everything is sales.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so sharp because like client wins, celebrating client wins and getting people pumped for calls like, okay, are you ready for this call? Talking with this client about XYZ opportunity or problem or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. If you have that, like, cause sales teams, you close a deal or you book a call. It's like, almost like a team, like a football team, you're like high-fiving and it's like, all right, we're doing something.
Oh yeah.
We're winning, right?
We celebrate sales loudly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what we do in fulfillment as well. It's like we're a team. It's very clear, like you're the running back, you're the wide receiver, like you ran that play perfectly. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that winning, people want to win. People are willing to fight really hard to win if you can show them how. And I think it's really cool to see that in motion now as we're growing. And we've talked with many different mentors and coaches and stuff about these as well, which is capacity, right? So at what point do you need to hire? At what point do you need to expand services or change the way that you're fulfilling? And one of the things that I'm really proud of for the year is that we've been able to grow the team, grow our client base, and increase gross profit margins. And that was a huge goal of mine, to become more efficient as we grow. And that's one of the things, if you can connect those dots where you grow and you become more profitable as you grow, I feel like it just naturally will snowball.
I was just on Curtis's podcast.
Nice.
Which is, I mean, it's, I love how small the world gets.
Yep.
And Curtis and I met the same like weekend that Clifton and I met, organized by Tyler. And then we met in person playing golf, was what Curtis organized. So then I'm recording on his podcast and I'm like, yeah, Brett's here. He's upstairs.
That's awesome.
The world gets so small. And we just spent an hour talking about gross margin.
Yep.
And you know, how much of a challenge that was for OneAccord.
Yeah.
When I came, like that was our number one opportunity was to fix profitability at the gross margin level.
Yep.
For you to say that you've grown and you've added and you've expanded gross margin is, I mean, that's a whole conversation in and of itself.
Yeah.
Staying away from the financial piece, but as you grow, I want to lean into the cultural piece.
Yeah.
So that unreasonable hospitality, that maintaining momentum, bringing the right people in the team is like make or break.
That's exactly right.
Yep. So how many people have you added to the team this year?
Added this year, I would say probably 5. So we're about, if you include sales, probably 6 or 7 right in there.
That's a lot of new personality.
It's about, about double. So about our team is about twice as big as it was prior. Yep.
There is big risk in that growth, just
absolutely
doubling the number of people.
Yep.
The number of personalities, the number of backstories, the number of family stories, the stuff that comes into your business, whether you have eyes on it or not.
100%.
How do you do that?
Well, it comes down to,
teach, but tell.
I'm not going to pretend I can teach anybody anything here. But as far as what we did, a really big piece of it is, I would say boots on the ground hiring. It's not make a LinkedIn role or go to Indeed or, here's a bunch of resumes. Yeah. What we do is we keep our basically fingers on the pulse of other people who are teaching in the area. So people teaching content writing or people teaching video editing. And all of the people that we've hired have been people that we either have come across or know, right? Through just the network we developed on social media. And even the people that we've hired for specific placement. So a role that we go through an agency, it's an agency where we know the actual owner who places talent, right? And that's been a huge, it's been a huge momentum maintainer. I don't know how to say that, but because you're right. An incorrect hire, it's almost a compound injury. It's running on a twisted ankle because not only does it slow everything down. I'm trying. Yeah. It slows everything down. And also you have to fix. So you're hiring because you're expanding.
Right.
And now not only can you not meet that expansion, now you have more work. Right. Training, taking time. It is a real problem.
Now, I think that there are different stages and phases where there's a little more tolerance. There's a little more wiggle room. Like, in the early stages of growth, a bad hire, I don't even like that word, like the wrong fit.
Yeah.
I don't want to put labels on people, but the wrong person at the wrong time, whatever it is. So long as a person can identify that quickly and just say, listen, this isn't working out.
Right.
It's like a stumble.
Yep.
It's a stumble. Larger organizations, big organizations, entry level, wrong fit, you're not going to feel it across the whole organization.
That's a great point.
But at that scale stage,
yep,
which you just talked about, where you're growing,
yep,
and I would say that for hiring, you want to hire in response to demand. Like,
yep,
never hire ahead of demand. Like, oh, we need to fill this position because we're going to get 15 new clients. That's no, right?
It's great.
Like, we just signed 15 new clients. Now I need to hire.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's for big risk, right? Because you now have those clients, and you just talked about that.
Yep.
In that scale phase, when you hire a critical role,
yep,
if it's not right, then that twisted ankle breaks.
That's right. Yep.
And you're out of the race for a while.
Yep.
You're on the bench for half the season. So getting that right, I'm just going to say this, and you tell me if I'm off or on. When you have now 15 people in the firm,
yep,
and you've developed a culture, and like, this is how we do things around here. You said momentum is palpable.
Yep.
Culture is palpable. And so the person coming in probably knows within 3 days, whether it's remote or
yep,
not, they know right away. That culture is so strong that, like, oh, I'm in the right place, or uh-oh.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. I've had some number. I don't know what it is. It's more than 10, less than 50, somewhere in that band of people come in to a business, whether it's OneAccord or other businesses that I'm involved in. And I'd say within 30 days, they just know.
Yep.
Like, no, this isn't the place.
Right.
And that's good.
Yeah. One of the things that I've really been thinking through as we continue to grow is you go through these seasons of push, right? So you have strategic initiatives you're pushing, new software, integration of new systems or flows. We've changed some fundamental thing. This person's shifting over to these calls. I mean, there's a lot of change that happens. And I read a quote that really frames the way that I think about growth, which is, when the Spartans were training, they would celebrate when they would go to war because training was so brutal.
Yeah.
Because it would be a relief from the training, yeah, right? And I just remember, obviously that's an extreme example, but it highlights the point, which is when we have times where we can rest, I'm very forthright. You need to rest now, because we won't have time to rest in a little bit. You need to take time to get your ducks in a row now, because we are going to push. This is the plateau. The hill's coming, right? Yeah. You can't sprint right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like right now, there's stuff that we're working on that we sorted out a few kind of technological things that we were trying to push together. They clicked all together quickly. And I was like, okay, so we're ahead of pace on these. Now we can go capture this territory over here if we want, in that metaphor. But what I said is, what's the hardest thing on our docket? Not the next thing. What's the hardest thing? Because we have room now, right? And so talking with the team and figuring out those next most challenging things and teeing it up so that you maintain momentum. That's really the end goal, right? Yeah. If you have the bandwidth, it's like why people do deep work, like the hardest work right away. I have a great respect for that, because you want to get the toughest stuff out of the way so that when you're not at your apex, and when there's client fires going on, and when systems are maybe breaking, or there's new hires and it's complex, you don't want to have it show up then, because that's when you need it to be functioning most, right? So I really think about that a lot as we're trying to grow this thing, not losing our center, making sure that we're staying true to really the core of what we set out to do, right? Which is make high impact founders, make their socials match their offline resumes, because it's so common to see high performing individuals and you go to their socials and you're like, this is different than what I expected.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said there.
So good. So good. I'm taking away from this conversation that notion of maintaining momentum, and then all the things that we've talked about around that make that possible to do so.
Yep.
And then just in conclusion, I want to thank you for the way that you guys have showed up and served me and served OneAccord. This year, this was the year. My social media accounts, my platforms have grown 100x. Like that's real number.
Let's go.
100 times.
Yep.
And it's been a year of content production. The engagement is smooth. And I'm talking with people who are in my life, like in person.
Yep.
Regularly, who are speaking to me about the content.
Yes.
And so that is a major paradigm shift for me, right? Paradigm's not the right word. It's a major shift in perspective.
Yep.
So at the beginning of the year, I would have thought, I want to expand my social media platform so that I can reach more people that are not in my immediate vicinity, right?
Right.
Reach the world
Yep.
on these platforms. What I've come to realize is that the social media platforms are the way for me to stay in relationship and engaged with the people that are right here.
It's massive. Yep.
I'll be speaking at an event tonight, and there might be 50 people there. It's an intimate, and I am almost certain that 80% of that crowd, so call it 40 out of 50,
yep,
will know who I am, or will say I've never met that guy, but I know who he is.
Yep.
And this is evidenced by a meeting that I had recently with an M&A attorney. He met with me and had just come from meeting with an investment banker. He's like, yeah, I was talking to so-and-so and told him I was going to go meet you.
Yep.
And then investment banker said, oh, I've never met Nick, but he posts a lot online.
Yeah. Right.
That investment banker is my ICP.
Yep.
We haven't met, but he knows because of the work that you guys are doing with me. So it's so valuable. So it's so cool to have you here.
Yeah.
In person,
yep,
in studio. Just love you guys so much. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Feelings mutual. Thank you.
Welcome to the Value Factory Podcast, brought to you by OneAccord. We're all about helping businesses thrive and grow through leadership, strategy, and meaningful impact. Now, whether you're a seasoned executive or just starting out, our goal is to provide insights and inspiration to help you navigate your journey. Thanks for tuning in.